Coming to the uterine artery Doppler velocimetry, we know that there is a faulty trophoblastic invasion of spiral arteries which happens somewhere around the 12 to 13 or 14 weeks of pregnancy, leading to the diminished placental perfusion, increased uterine artery velocimetry in the first or early second trimester, producing a dichotic notch. This alone was used, and let me underline the word alone, was used some time back for screening for preeclampsia. But then what happened in the year around 2009-10, the Condi-Agudelo study did say that it was not suitable for clinical use at all. If you use this alone, though we used it along with some other methods, we would get the sensitivity, specificity improved. But if you use uterine artery Doppler velocimetry alone as a screening method for preeclampsia, probably the results are much lesser and you can't use them alone, and so it's not useful for clinical armamentarium. This again, little later, the Cochrane database clearly said that no benefit to the use of second trimester uterine artery Doppler for screening for hypertensive disorders in a low risk population, and so you can't use them for screening for preeclampsia. Coming to the fetal-placental unit endocrine dysfunction, we had so many factors being used, and the studies all around were around the year 2008, 9, 10, 11. And this also proved no clinical benefit for hypertension prediction. And the endothelial dysfunction, oxidative stress, had so many factors, and if you open the net and Google, what will happen is that you will have enough studies to have individual factors, but then the studies are limited and the numbers are limited with so many usages. And the last two of them, I had put it specifically, the SFLT1 and endoglin, probably are the most promising factors which can be used for screening for preeclampsia, which we will see a little later as well. Used from fibronectins in the Lee-Frank study, what happened was release from endothelial and extracellular matrix following endothelial injury, and they said that it was neither useful clinically nor to predict preeclampsia was the Lee-Frank study, and so the fibronectins went out of favor some time back. Coming to the angiogenic risk factors, they are the ones who show some promising results, as I told you. The soluble endoglin and the SFLT, and again the Condi-Agudelo study reviewed these studies and confirmed that the sensitivity was 59 to 100% and specificity were also ranging to 43 to 100% as well. In case at first in a cocoon of doubt, a great idea struggles through and it's beautiful and it flies. So the level of evidence too at the moment for prediction of preeclampsia is SFLT1 and soluble endoglin, which were significantly higher in women with preeclampsia in second trimester who developed preeclampsia subsequently, and the PIGF and TGF-B1 were lower. So when we use a ratio of these two, that provided a very good level of evidence too. But having said that, please get the point clear that this is only at research level and it is not available for you and me to prescribe in a prescription and tell the patients go and get the evidence and get back with SFLT and soluble endoglin, because not all the labs do these tests and it is not still available for the clinical use amongst practitioners. It is on level of evidence too, no doubt about it, but this is what we have at the moment as research evidence and it is yet to come to the clinician's desk. Why poor detection of umbilical artery Doppler? Could we use umbilical artery Doppler after some time? Seeing the uterine artery Doppler was not effective. The umbilical artery Doppler only reveals significant abnormalities after 2/3 of small placental villus vessels are obliterated, and so the damage is already done and screening these women for preeclampsia may not be very effective. Treatment evaluated for the prevention of preeclampsia. Having said prediction, can we have any treatment modalities which will prevent preeclampsia? Lot of agents were used for studying and preventing preeclampsia in women, namely pharmacological, nutritional supplements and lifestyle modifications and diet. The pharmacological agents used for prevention of preeclampsia were antiplatelet agents, nitric oxide donors, low molecular weight heparin, progesterone, diuretics, nutritional supplements like anything and everything, lifestyle intervention like rest, exercise, altered dietary salt, energy and protein intake, and of course garlic. All of them were evaluated, but the numbers were very less and none of the studies could prove any convincing conclusions. So the question is, can we predict or prevent preeclampsia? The evidence is here in this one single tabular column followed by the next slide. Advice to rest at home is not recommended, so low quality of evidence.